All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate you taking your time to join us for today's webinar. My name is Paul Sally. I'm with Inside Real Estate. I'm the Director of Product Partnerships here at Inside Real Estate. I'm really excited to have one of my dear friends in the industry and fellow Coloradan with us today, Madeline Hammer with LocalLogic. Madeline, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you're with LocalLogic. I wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself with what you do over there, joining the team at LocalLogic, what your role is, and just a brief explanation of the company. We'll get into exploring what LocalLogic is a little bit more, but would love to hear that starting out.
Absolutely. So Local Logic we've been a partner of kvCORE's for about 7 months now. It was built last year. And we have a fantastic story in the real estate industry. And we are actually city planners. We're a firm out of Montreal, Canada. And our claim to fame is that our founders came together looking at cities and how they serve people and studying the data around that. And the application out to real estate just came really organically and naturally. For my background, I've been in the real estate technology space since 2011 when Trulia opened up their Denver office. And so, search and the insights and just the power of information that people can gather now about homes that they're looking at is really something that I have seen grow over the past decade.
No, that's great. That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. As the title says here, we are going to be talking a little bit about how you can make your kvCORE website stickier with LocalLogic. We'll primarily be focusing on the LocalLogic integration and what that is, what that means, and how you can use that on your kvCORE platform today. We'll also touch briefly on a product inside of the marketplace called Inrix Drive Time, which is a complementary product to LocalLogic. So excited to talk about that today. Thanks for joining
Me
us.
too. I think it really can't be understated too that between the local logic location data and the Inrix data, this is really the fundamental information that we know people are looking for in houses in terms of where the schools, the grocery stores, what is right around me, and then how long is it going to take me to get places. So it's a great program that you've built.
No, thanks so much. I'm excited to show it off here, our integration. And you and I were talking before this webinar started. I want everybody to know just about some of the trends that you as agents are experiencing coming out of 2020. I know a lot of people are experiencing consumers that aren't really tied down to major metropolitan areas as much. So instead of looking at where they need to live, they're looking a little bit more about where they want to live as far as access to amenities and things.
Right. There's three big trends that we're following right now, and we have about six data scientists now in Montreal. And one trend is people who are moving from smaller apartments into larger properties. It might still be a condo or an apartment type style, but no longer are people looking at these tiny houses. They need more square footage because we have to be able to function our lives in a larger piece of real estate. The second trend that we're watching a lot is people who are moving out of cities into suburbs and
Yeah.
measuring whether or not that's really going to be a thing or not. It might be, it may not be. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that that pivots off of the third trend that we're watching, which is really the 15-minute neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have access to either by walking, biking, or driving within 15 minutes of your home? And
Yeah.
we think that there's a trend. The initial studies for this came out of Paris in this first month of the pandemic, where they were already watching people who were thinking about what's within 15 minutes of me? Is this where I need to be? Is this how cities are going to be structured?
Interesting. No, that's great. So I'm excited to look into that a little bit more, the data science behind it. So let's go ahead
Yeah,
and get started here.
sounds good.
We mentioned a little bit, alluded to some of the things that we're going to talk about and cover on this webinar. Obviously, how these web tools can increase the stickiness of your website, how these are relevant to your home buyer today, and also how these tools will level the playing field, your website with others. And then we're going to jump into it. We're going to look at the hands-on demo with LocalLogic. We're going to talk about real-world results, diving into the data a little bit. with Madeline, and then discuss some of the best practices. Once you deploy and utilize this tool on your website, how can you let it be known to those around you, to your consumers and your sphere of influence?
Mhm.
All right. So let's go ahead and, oh, sorry, my part of my slides didn't load here. I'm gonna refresh and try that again.
It's all good.
I want to, there we go. So diving into the first thing I wanted to discuss is the stickiness of this and how you're able to leverage these web add-on tools to increase the consumer experience for those that visit your website, and how that equates to ultimately more business with adding these tools. So there we go. We've refreshed, and let's go back into present mode. I had to share my sticky hand with everybody.
I love the sticky hand. I think it's just so key. So, there's a couple of things that we think about. We have been in business for 5 years now. So we've measured since prior to all of the events and really cultural changes that we went through in 2020. And what we know is that people leave websites because they are looking for data about what's around it. And we also know from our own information and our own tools that people want to know what are the schools in the area, what are the grocery stores, and then either high schools or restaurants are the next most searched criteria. So we search for what are people looking for, and then we try and move that information to them. The concept behind this is that people, when they're getting the information that they are either would normally go out to Google for, or that are the top search criteria around their house, they're going to stay on websites longer. And the longer that somebody is on a site, then we know the more likely they are to engage. Our clients, a larger client, which has implemented the tool set in a very similar way to the kvCORE implementation, where you have the scoring and the maps and the listing information, increased engagement by 36%. So we know it's a measurable component to the website.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you very much. So exactly right. So the stickiness, it increases the relevance. It's what people are looking to use, and maybe able to have two separate browser windows open to be able to conduct that. As you mentioned, they can stay and have that whole experience on your website, as far as looking at what's around, looking at location, amenities, and then at the same time correlating that search. Yeah, exactly. And at the same time, correlating those onto search results. So they don't have to cross-reference and wonder what is where. It will show that automatically.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So I'm excited to jump in. But I do want to mention that this also brings your website up to rival competition. It really levels the playing field with some of the experiences and tools that call it portals or bigger brokerage websites might have. It really lets you as an individual agent or team provide those coming to your website with that same search experience and those same resources to
Yeah.
have at their disposal.
I think it's been 6 months since we've done a webinar, and I think we really can't showcase enough how easy this build has been and created by your engineers at kvCORE. They have built it so that it literally can be plug and play, and it's a level of information and technology that is not easily available for individual agent teams or boutique brokerage websites. It takes a lot of building and it takes a lot of data integration, and it's been beautifully done for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I know we were talking about the term a while back, making search fun again. So
Yes.
it's really cool. So I'm excited to jump into it.
Yeah.
And something that you alluded to, Madeline, that I do want to touch on so that everybody's aware, this is the first and only avenue that Local Logic is available directly to you as an agent. So that
Absolutely.
is really exciting. We are excited to partner with you and your team to really tightly integrate kvCORE with Local Logic and bring this to you as an individual agent or team to
Yeah.
provide to your web traffic, your web
Yeah.
users.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it could legitimately be called an exclusive that you have for the way that it's been built out and so easy to implement. I think we were gonna share the help docs later and, kind of how to get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go over right when we dive into the demo. We're going to show you how to deploy local logic from inside of kvCORE, where you can access help to learn more about it from our resource center, and then we'll walk through what it looks like and get our hands on with it.
Perfect.
So let's go ahead and dive in. I do want to start with the experience that those on the webinar would use to deploy this inside of kvCORE. So from your kvCORE platform, you would go down to Marketplace. This is just my demo account. So clicking on Marketplace, then you would scroll down to the local logic tile. You can see here in the Marketplace, we have all our tiles here. Scrolling down to local logic, if you click on Learn More, there's a brief snapshot and video that is an overview of what the offering is. You'll then select your website. Most of you will probably only have one website to select, and then click Add to kvCORE. You'll then be prompted to provide your payment information, and once that is submitted, it will be turned on and available. And while we're discussing that, I do want to make mention, if you go to support.insiderealestate.com, this is our support center. If you click on Marketplace, you can search for the local logic article, which showcases a brief overview on how to obtain local logic inside of on your website through kvCORE. And then it also provides resources on what it looks like. So I'm giving a sneak peek ahead of what we're going to discuss, but it's a great resource for you to have if you have any questions on how to use this. So Madeline, I want to turn the reins over to you to show us live what it looks like once I've deployed this on my kvCORE website. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing and let you take control here.
No, perfect. So a couple of quick points. I did see a question pop up, and I think it's in the chat. Yes, this is available in Canada and the United States. Our first launch actually was within Canada, and we have full data, though, on every address, every Latin long corner of the United States and Canada. And this is extremely budget friendly. I did see another pop-up question. It starts at $15 for an agent. And then team pricing is 50, and that is per month. Yep, there you go.
So, yep, $15 a month. So I'll go ahead and turn that over to you to show us what this experience looks like.
Perfect. So I went ahead and just to be efficient, I'm on the Joseph Macy demo site. I went ahead and picked a beautiful penthouse in New York City because who doesn't want that chandelier and that white table? And so I wanted to use this to really showcase the data that is available. We have 13 different lifestyle categories that we have available. And for every listing map, the score, the table of scores shows up on the left side of the listing. Now, in this case, I happen to choose a Manhattan listing, and so there are many different options around it. But normally it's going to be stack ranked for you from highest proximity to lowest. And it shows, this is a measurement of what is around the listing and the density of these lifestyle options around the listing. So restaurants from 0 to 10, schools from 0 to 10, grocery stores. And then when people click on the information, we show the closest options to the listing over on the left side. And then within the map itself, we actually show the detail of the store, which for some reason is not popping up on this map. I could be too close. There you go. I was too far out. So we show not only the where it is in proximity to the listing, but we also show the details, the address, and what kind of store it is. for your schools. And I'm just going to center in on the most searched criteria, which are grocery stores, restaurants, elementary schools. For elementary schools, we do include the grade information. It's the grade school's grading as passed through from home junction. It also shows the boundaries of the school. So if it's a public school, it will show the boundaries of the school. And again, the address is there too. So excellent information. Let me see if I can find one that's got there you go, there's a boundary. So this is how we show the boundary. As you know, being real estate professionals, you know that schools are some of the most desirable information. So this, again, keeps people on the site. And then the scores over here, we do show the walk time to the score. But again, the number score here shows the density of them. So if it's a 10, that means there are many restaurants within 3.1 miles of the house. And if it's a 2, 3, or a 4, that may mean that they're driving, but there are still restaurants that are within the area. So that is the lifestyle score. Again, it's on the map. It pops in on every listing, and it is mobile web friendly. And it shows there's a hover over here, so it draws people into it. And then the second part of the technology that I wanted to show is how this works on a broader search. So this is the listing level information. We know that, you know, what people are wanting to see there. Then when they're looking in a broader area, they have the option to use our heat maps. And normally, again, this is a huge benefit to the kvCORE, the way the implementation is built. Normally, people have to build these products, you know, one by one for the listing integration, and then the heat maps, and then the lifestyle match. But the way that this integration is built, it is one-click implementation for all of this functionality. It's very, very valuable. So on the, oops, let me zone out a little bit. So say your person needs to find a property that is close to an elementary school and grocery stores, and they want it quiet because guess what? They have 2 little kids. So we go down here and we click on quiet. We click on grocery stores and then elementary schools. And then we click here to really hide that map. So what the heat map is showing is the, you know, the areas that person should be considering where these lifestyle characteristics are present. The red areas would be areas for them to avoid. And let's turn off schools just to hide that and really show the heat map of just the area. What I love about this experience is that our heat maps actually go down to the individual listing level, or excuse me, the individual block level. So it really shows, hey, over here it's going to be more quiet, and over here it's going to be a little bit louder for you. And then just to kind of clarify and really provide a better peek at what that heat map looks like, let's just isolate this down to the noise category. And then you can see how that works. So most people will pull in lifestyle information in schools. One user point here, and again, another reason to think about bringing this into your site, is that we studied users who were using this heat map functionality and users who were not on one of our largest implementations in Northern America. And what we found was that people who were using the heat maps information, they actually expanded their search out by 50% greater. So it really pulled in more property, more options for them to be thinking about, more neighborhoods, and then, you know, help them isolate more the houses and the areas of the city that they should be looking at. I think the last thing we wanted to show was the Inrix, right, Paul?
Yeah, no, thanks for walking us through that. I mean, it's fun to see And it's really cool. You can even zoom out. I know a lot of people are in transit because maybe working from home has opened up literally their world of where they can live. So they can start here. And then something else, if you notice on the right, I wanted to highlight each of those listings have that number assigned with them, that score that equates to the inputs that they have put in for the amenities that they're searching for in the next location they'd like to live.
Thank you
Um,
so much for reminding me on that one. Yes. So again, we only have noise selected. So this area in Park Avenue in Manhattan, I think we all know it's not going to be very quiet, but here's a penthouse and it's getting a little bit more quiet.
yeah, no, that's great. And speaking of noise, we do have a question. Where does the noise and sound statistics come from, Madeline?
I'm so glad. So that's actually a proprietary score that we calculate, and we calculate it based upon looking at the roads, the traffic, the types of businesses, and the types of noise as calculated in decibel levels that are around that house. So just to draw that out a little bit further, if the house is right next to a highway, then that's going to have a higher noise score level
Hmm.
or show, not quiet, so lower on the quiet, depending on what you're looking for. But if it's by a school, we know that a school can be at certain times of the day just as loud as a highway, but it's only that loud for like 20 minutes in the middle of the afternoon. So
Hmm.
we understand that that's noise that isn't going to create an irritation for folks. So it looks at the decibel levels of the noise sources as well as the types of noise that they are, be it the type of business, schools, or highways, for example.
No, that's great. And I know that there's airports taken into consideration, trains.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, trains in particular.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
great.
And then the
Awesome.
drive time is here. I don't have an address to put in here.
Yeah, so
I
you can
don't.
actually, yeah, just touching on that. So you'll notice that little car icon
Mhm.
on Madeline's screen to the left. You can click drive. This is our Inrix drive time integration. So you can type in an address, or Madeline, if you don't mind just grabbing one of those towns. So let's see, River Edge is one that I see on the heat
Oh,
map
okay. Thank
there.
you.
So you can type in a town, a specific address, a location, an amenity by their title, and then you can choose the drive time, and then it will add another layer on to that experience. So it would show the drive time plus those amenities that your user would be searching for. So there it is now populating. You can see the triangulation showing the map of the drive time requisites and the local logic amenities. So it really helps identify that even further. This is great for your consumers, obviously, but it's also a great resource that you can screenshot or link out and share with those that you're actively working, or those that you know have certain criteria that they're keeping an eye out for their
Right.
next home.
And
So
this
it's
feeds right back to the 15-minute city we're talking about. All
right,
of
right.
it together into, creating a life for people.
Yeah, and I love that concept. So you literally can get the 15-minute city based on what you're looking for. So you could go to lifestyle, select grocery stores, restaurants, and then go to Inrix drive time and click 15 minutes, and you can see where you need to maybe consider looking or not looking to accommodate those search criteria.
Absolutely.
Great question, Mary. Inrix is not a part of Local Logic. It is a separate offering. It's also found inside of the marketplace, and the price for that is $5 a month.
Yeah, so the two on an individual website would be $20 a month. Was really,
$20 a month.
yeah,
Yep, yep, exactly. And there was a question that popped up of how will users know that this is incorporated into my website? They'll know by going to the map search. They will have this functionality come up to where previously they would not have the functionality, namely the lifestyle, the schools, and then those buttons on the left for the drive time. And then they of course would see the heat map generate out there. Awesome. Well, thanks for showing us around, Madeline. Let me just jump back to my screen here. So it's pretty fun. I love seeing heat maps. It's a nice change of heat maps that we've all been used to as of late. So it's really great to see, and it's fun to experiment where you might want to live based on, as I mentioned, based on what you want to do, not what you have to do. All right, so continuing on, use cases with website search add-ons. We want you to leverage this investment. We mentioned that it is beneficial to your users, but how do you get users to engage with this? Or as one of you asked, how do people know it's there? It definitely gives you a reason to reach out to your sphere of influence, or in your introductory email or video, mention that you do have this aspect of your website that is unique, and you can share that link out upon making that initial intro, or it gives you a fresh reason to reach out to those that you're working with or have worked with in the past. We encourage you to share this on social, incorporate that into your kvCORE landing pages, or it's really powerful to share and capture those leads. You can tag them to local logic leads, and then you can follow up with those individuals with specific heat maps or functionalities or how-tos or did you knows. It's just something, again, the theme of this webinar was increase the stickiness of your website. It increases that stickiness and provides you opportunities to reach out.
Right. I do want to call out, there were several questions on pricing because we were talking about both the Local Logic and the Inrix. So they're two separate add-ons. The Local Logic with the listing page detail, the heat maps, and then the lifestyle scoring for your properties is $15 a month. $50 for teams or very small boutique broker sites. And that's really an extraordinary price point for it includes all of the data and all the information. And then $5 is the Inrix add-on for that commute calculator and, an ability to put the 15-minute window, or excuse me, bubble around the house.
Yeah, no, thanks, Madeline. And you can adjust that. You can adjust that drive time as well.
Oops, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, you can. I was just going to say you can adjust that drive time. It doesn't have to be 15 minutes from that location.
And it is functional all across Canada and the United States.
And it's updated. It's up-to-date information, which is something that I found impressive. So
yes,
if an airport's being built in your backyard, you'd want to know about that. If you're looking at or your future backyard, you'd want to know about that if it wasn't there a couple years ago.
I'm just going to scroll up through the questions here, Paul.
Yeah.
Did we throw that help document in the link?
Yeah. Let me add that link out to the help document. That's that resource I showed you from our support website, specific to Local Logic.
In the chat. So people can copy and grab that link.
Yeah, that will walk you through how to get started, as well as what the highlights and features were that Madeline just covered.
Looks like the WordPress questions were answered.
All right. Okay, there's that link inside of there. Is there any other questions that we can answer or that Madeline could answer pertaining to Local Logic? Again, it's been a great partnership, and this is the only, as Madeline said, it's an exclusive only to agents using kvCORE. This is the only availability you have to get this as an agent or small team. So it's pretty powerful, and we're excited to have released this inside of the marketplace.
And it's been extremely popular too, right? It's one of the most visited icons.
It has. This is the 6th most clicked marketplace tile inside of the marketplace as of last month. They're always moving, but yeah, it's.
No, sure. Yeah.
It's been very popular and well received. A lot of positive feedback of those who have deployed it. They're enjoying using it and providing that as a resource.
There's a question from Greg Gray, and then Teresa Price has a question about whether or not it's showing school ratings. And this is a differentiation between Canada and US because there are not school ratings that are really available across all of Canada. In the US, we are displaying home junction schools and ratings. And I think there is an option for displaying it or hiding it, right, Paul?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Everything's very friendly in that regard. There's toggles on and off.
And yes, Steve, it can be done. It is a publicly available product. I can throw my email address in the chat if you want to reach out, and we can chat about maybe a sister site that you have to your kvCORE site.
Yeah, great. Awesome.
And then I can't see the hand raised by Greg Gray. Was there a question?
Greg said that he's on a team and they cover several states. Would LocalLogic handle multiple areas?
Absolutely. We really, LocalLogic is built to come in at the listing, or excuse me, at the lat and long level of either the listing that is displayed or of the map that's on the page. So as long as your kvCORE site is showing that map widget or a listing that's for sale, the LocalLogic data is going to come with it. Now, there could be some areas that are in very rural areas, farm areas, where there are not these kinds of amenities around them, and then you may not see a lot of data. But as long as you are in a a census measured populous area, you're going to have the scores show.
Awesome. Oh, great. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for attending. I have there on the screen how to get started. It's inside of your kvCORE marketplace, LocalLogic, and then you'll notice over to the left, there's Inrix drive time. LocalLogic is $15 a month for an individual agent, $50 for a team or small brokerage, and Inrix drive time is $5 a month. Definitely invite you to check this out. Madeline, thanks for joining us and sharing the stickiness of this all and how people have seen an increase in their web traffic and how that translates overall to their business. Really appreciate you having you on and your expertise.
My pleasure. Happy to share the future.
Thanks for attending, everybody. We will make sure that a recording of this is sent out. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time on the next webinar. Take care.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks. Bye.
There's still